So what do I talk about? It's been a long time since I've made a DevShell video. I mean, a real video, a solid video that's planned out, and it's been about 4 years. I mean, the last video that I made that even comes close actually was before Kai was born. That was, that video is probably now a year old. So what do I talk about? The great debate community is not what it used to be. Political conversations on YouTube are still as poisonous as they ever were. What is there to discuss at this point? I mean, I'm not in it for the drama. I don't know. I mean, do I talk about what I've been up to? Do you guys care? What is it that I can discuss on video that some people might want to see or be interested in? Oh, hi. Yeah, yeah, about that. Um, yeah. So, um, for those of you who did not know, not paying attention, not friends with me on Facebook, I am finally transitioning. Yes, Peach is on board, and hi. My pronouns, if you're the type that needs to ask, are she and her, and my name is Raven. How you doing? I figured a few months ago that I needed to find a name, and my first thought was DevShell. Oh, there's a feminine sound name. I mean, that was one of the original reasons why I used the name to begin with. It was basically my girl name, and I came up with DevShell. Funny story. I came up with DevShell about 22 years ago, and I started using it as my Hotmail address. I actually still use that email address, but I came up with the name DevShell. It's my kids' names put together. Most of you who have been following me for a while know that. The DevShell is my kids' names. And I did it, again, to pay tribute to them. And it was supposed to be my name, my feminine name. And when I started using it for my screen name on YouTube and for my email and everything else, it kind of took on its own thing. It's more of an internet persona than a name. So a few months ago, I was thinking about that. What am I going to do for a name? I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to bash on anybody's names or anything, but, I didn't want to be like Cassandra or Candy. So many people using those kinds of names. And I wanted something that meant something to me. Something that would always be not only just my name, but symbolic of who I am. Something that held meaning in my life outside of just a name. Because, I mean, if it's just a name and that's it, and that's all that matters, it's actually pretty easy. You know what's not easy is eyeliner. Eyeliner is not easy. That was a little wet. But yeah, I wanted to find a name that had meaning to me the way that DevShell did. And after a lot of thought, I decided I would run Raven past a few friends. Shayra Moran being one of them. And she started using it immediately, and it didn't take long till it kind of stuck. I kind of got used to it. It was, yeah, it felt good. It felt right. Now, what Raven is, if you haven't figured it out yet, Raven is the inverse of DevShell. It's my kids' names, Rochelle and Devin. It's my oldest two kids, and their names put together. So it's the opposite of DevShell, and it works, and I like it, and I'm kind of comfortable with it. And it means something to me. So That's the story behind Raven. It's kind it's kind of like a name that's 17 years or so in the making, but you know that's it. That's what it means, and that's where it comes from. So I've yet to decide what to do with my YouTube channel. Many of you have been aware of my very slow, very chaotic transition for a long time now. And those of you who were not aware, well, now you are. So what I was thinking was, since I kind of tracked my progress, kind of, here and on Blog TV, in the past, that perhaps I'll use the channel to continue to do that. And you guys can watch Raven as she grows. If that kind of thing appeals to you. You know, I am not Natalie. I am not ContraPoints. Never was. I never will be. You're not going to get any philosophy here. You're not going to get an education. But it'll be fun. We'll have some good conversation. If nothing else, and you can watch me learn how to put eyeliner on, because it's hard. And I am not horrible at it, but I'm not all that good either. This actually is probably the worst I've ever done with it so far. I mean, this is even worse than my first time. But it's something. I figured you guys might enjoy watching. I don't know. And I have an interview lined up. Which will be interesting, with Chris from the Men Like Us podcast. It's a podcast, and it's a group that he created for men who are attracted to trans women. So I've got him, and we'll talk a little bit. That'll be fun. And what else? Well, I mean, there was, my whole opening thing, watching me put makeup on. As ridiculous as that might have looked, especially, since I made such a mess with it. We will talk about, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. I think that's what we're going to do. I think that's what we're going to do with this channel going forward. We're going to talk about my journey. We're going to talk about trans issues in general. Nothing really deep and heavy. I'm not like, one of the big channels. Not a philosopher. Not an expert in politics. I'm not going to do makeup tutorials. Because I need makeup tutorials. But we'll talk. We'll bullshit. And we'll see where the channel goes, if you're interested. I will say one of the things that I have to work on is vocal training. That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. And we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to see if I can take a camera with me one of these days when I go for an electrolysis treatment. That's not fun. That's actually the opposite of fun. I get zapped with needles and probes in my face, frying my hair follicles, so I stop growing a beard. I'm doing that a lot. I don't like it. think that I think that's it for this segment of the video. Thank you all for tuning in, even though I've been gone for so long. Thank you for staying this long into the video. Check at the end of the video, check the description box down below. All kinds of neat stuff in there. And there's yeah, check the description box down below. There's all kinds of neat stuff in there. And if there's anything you want to know, if there's questions you have, something you want me to cover in a video, something you want me to talk about, let me know. Just leave it down in the comments, and I'll get to it. One way or the other, I'll get to it. So coming up is Chris from the Men Like Us podcast. So awesome. So for today's interview, for this video's interview, and for my first time back as a content provider on YouTube, I have a very special guest for the interview. His name is Chris. He is let me get this right. You're the creator, and basically the star of the Men Like Us podcast.
I wouldn't say star. I would say the
You're the
creator
main.
and
You're the main guy.
yeah, the host.
The host.
Yes.
The main guy. All right. I noticed I don't know about all of them because I haven't watched all of them. I did check out a few, and it's for the most part the same three guys. You.
hmm
I don't know if I should say their names. I guess it's okay, right?
Well, it's always different. It's different people. Usually, I've kind of settled into a pattern, but the concept of the show was always to have a rotating cast.
Okay. So you okay? Now, I've seen like King Trail and Mike.
hmm
Mike.
Yeah, Trail and Mike have been back a lot lately. We mixed in some other guys. Whether we've had quite a few guys, and even a couple married guys on. So we've had a wide variety.
Okay. So why don't you then explain what the Men Like Us podcast is? Well, like specifically what Men Like Us means. So the comment about some married men being on will make a little bit more sense to people.
Yeah. So the Men Like Us podcast is a podcast or brand that is for men by men. It is aimed at men who are attracted to women in the transgender community, men who date women in the community, marry women in the community, or just are overall attracted to women in this community. It's for men who are it is for a lot of guys out there who are trying to understand themselves and accept themselves and trying to learn more about the community and about themselves and connect with other men that are like them. Because typically we are not around other men that are like us. And a lot of times our existence and our sexuality is not validated by our surroundings.
Right. So my understanding that and I think it's a pretty basic understanding, I guess, that a lot of people who are unfamiliar with either the trans community or with trans amorous men, many people just assume that you guys are gay, which is something that I personally reject because it's an insult to me. Um,
Yes.
there's nothing insulting about somebody thinking you're gay unless the person that you're attracted to isn't of the same sex. So then it becomes an insult. So yeah, so by saying that you're gay because you like women like me,
Mhm.
that's an insult to me. But it is my understanding that that's what a lot of people believe. So I assume that's one of the things that you guys try to dispel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, we tried, like, that was the first episode we tackled that question. Am I gay if I date transgender women? And, obviously the answer is no. Nothing changes about anyone as a human being based on who they like. You're the same person today that you were yesterday.
Right.
So, yeah, no, we definitely work against that. But I think our focus is largely to reshape the stereotype of men who deal with women in the trans community, because a lot of people think that, these are weirdo guys that can't get women, so then they went over to trans women. These are unattractive dudes. These are broke guys. These are these. They just have all these negative images in their mind of who these men are. And I'm showing the world who we are. And I'm putting different guys out there. And we come from lots of different backgrounds. We have different relationship statuses. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
So the word for today, that as part of the new show, is one of the things I'll be doing is um, defining a word. And today's word is chaser. And I chose that word specifically knowing that you would be on, because I think that word, well, first off, I think there's something you probably want to say about it, number one. And number two, a lot of people don't know what it is. I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of chasers, but in the context of the trans community, I mean, there's one specific thing that a lot of people mean when they say it. Um, do you want to address that word and how it relates to you and people in that people who are involved with your movement, with your
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So the term chaser, in general, just for men in general, it just gets lobbed around like everybody. Pretty much, if you're a man and you are attracted, if you find trans women attractive, you're a chaser to quite a few people out there. I think there are a lot of people that just don't have space for anything other than negativity, or I'm sorry, other than negative connotations for men. And a lot of times, when the people who sling that around the most have the most amount of hurt and trauma on them from their past experiences with men. But it is a title that is unavoidable. But I teach the guys in my group, and I teach the people who listen to my podcast, that when somebody calls you a chaser, it has more to do with them than it has to do with you. Because a lot of times these guys are like, I didn't do anything. I don't know where this came from. I don't know why they're treating me like this. A lot of times it has a lot to do with what's happening inside of them. It has nothing to do with you most of the time.
I can see how that's valid. Um, but I do know from my own experience that there are men out there. I'm sorry. I have a 3-year-old son, and he's laughing his ass off upstairs right now, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it's so distracting. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
All right, wait. Okay. Um, okay. I know from my own personal experience that there are men. There is a category of men that are scary. I think one of the first exchanges I had with you on Twitter was, um, I don't remember word for word, but basically what I had said was you would understand why some of the girls are uncomfortable, um,
Mm-hmm.
because there are guys, especially like on Twitter, on the internet, as some, they're scary. They're scary. And saying that you should be, I'm not saying I'm saying this. I'm just saying if somebody were to say it, saying that your group, you guys should be approached with caution. I think is justified. Not from
Mm-hmm.
anything that you've done, um, as far as I know, um, but there is a negative element out there, and they happen to be men, and they happen to be trans amorous. Um, I personally, because I mean, I'm in a relationship. I have a wife. I've got kids, and I joke with her all the time that she's a lesbian now. So I mean, I'm not out there like I'm not out there like actively dating. So it doesn't affect me a whole lot. So I'm friends with on Twitter. I have followers that are chasers. I follow chasers. Some of the trans women on Twitter have actually shunned me for that. And I'm just like, you're the one with the problem. You know, I'm not afraid of these guys because I'm never going to meet them. And if they want to follow me and they want to tell me I'm beautiful all day long and send me pictures of their penises, I'm okay with that. It is what it is, you know. Um, so there is that element though. I mean, and they're creepy. How would you say that your group, that you and the guys that you have on, the guys that are followers of the podcast, how are they different than those creepy guys? I
Well,
told you it wasn't going to be. I told you it wasn't going to be easy. I'm
no,
not going to be a bitch. I'm not going to be a cunt to you, and I'm not going to make accusations because I don't know you. Um, but I wasn't going to let you off easy. So
no, I'm totally happy to answer that. So, I'm fully transparent with a lot of things. So I would say the difference between a lot of these, porn hungry fetishizers, the guys that want these one-off experiences, um, which really is, I would say, the majority of men that girls meet. I would say the guys like me, myself, and the guys in my group, and some of the other men that watch my show, because not all the men that watch my show are on this page. Not everybody's in this on this, I guess, level, as it were. But all these guys, they're open. They're open about their attraction to women in this community. Their friends know, their family knows. They have actual relationship experience with women in the community. They are not living in the closet or secretly. And I think a lot of guys that are voyeurs on the internet and they follow you using fake accounts, whatever else, they're largely in the closet and they are deathly afraid of somebody in their life finding out that they find women in the trans community attractive. A lot of the guys in my group, have women. They have friends in the community. They go to events. They volunteer. They show up. We help out. We show up to memorial events as well. Obviously, we take part in whatever pride events that are happening. But a
unfortunately,
lot of these,
there's far too many memorial events these days. Unfortunately,
yes, absolutely, and it nothing infuriates me more than when I show up to those events and I'm the only cis hetero man there. You know what? And the event is packed full of women, tons of women from the community, and I'm like, I know there's dozens of men that have interacted with y'all at some point in your life, and nobody can show up to support your community. That is absolutely fucking tragic, and it just pisses me off because I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, we got to do better.
my personal experience dealing with the world, um, since I have not been out or open very long. Um, like I mean, I started my transition 17 years ago. And it was like, off and on, off and on, off and on for years. And I didn't get serious. Sorry. I don't know if you can hear all that.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's been off and on for years. And just recently, within the last few months, that it became something that I got serious about. And my girlfriend is like, we're in this together. It's like full steam ahead. So I've only really been out for a few weeks. And my experience so far has been cis women that I meet. Is everything okay up there? Hello? Okay. Sorry. My experience my experience so far has been that the cis women that I meet are like they're there for it. Like I immediately have like fans and this support system, and they're giving off like this feeling of like sisterhood, you know. Um
Mhm.
Men, no. No. I haven't had any negative experiences with men, but um they just don't, it's just non-existent. So
Mhm.
so yeah, there's not a lot of men, cis hetero men that are involved with the community at all. It's something that I think that most tend to stay away from, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's so then there's a whole so one side of this or an angle of this is when it comes to cis hetero men and their relationships, um if a man were to if a man were to sacrifice his privilege as a cis hetero male and stand up for women in the trans community or stand up for any other marginalized group, is like, oh, okay, so you're defending them, so you fuck with them, huh? Like, what, do you date them? Like, and then it leads down, like, for a lot of people, it's inconceivable for them to believe that somebody would actually just be a good human being
Right.
and not actually be romantically attached to the community.
It's
So
it's
then sometimes guys kind of want to shy away from that because they don't want people thinking they're gay, and then it's a whole fucking like thing. So
it's actually. I mean, that's basically the definition of toxic masculinity. I mean, that's really what it is.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, but
and it's
the problem is a lot of times it's reinforced and propped up.
well, I
It's
mean,
reinforced and propped up by men, but it's also reinforced and propped up by women. That's what I want to say.
by women, I suppose so, because there is a desire for their men to be manly men and masculine, and if you're standing up for trans women or gay men, mm, that takes away some of the
Gay men is fine. Gay men is fine because gay men are competition to cis women. But once there's perceived competition, then that's where you get some of the nastiness and some of the shame and the insults and all of that a lot of guys face.
yeah. Alrighty.
Transparent here. This is not the hate women hour. I'm just being honest about a lot of situations. And
And
I mean, really, you could check the tapes on this stuff. You know, last year there was an attack on trans women on Hollywood Boulevard. At the very beginning of that tape, you see a man walking down the street hand in hand with this trans woman, and a cis woman yelling out, "Hey, baby, that's a man. That's a man." And then everything went downhill from there. And even recently, the Nikita Dragon incident that a lot of people have been sharing. She's a very popular girl, very pretty girl, but she was leaving some spot. She met some guys in some place. She was leaving some spot up there in Hollywood land with some dudes, and but then some girl like called and like, yo, like there was a whistleblower there, and then hey, that's a man, right? Oh no, we got to go tell him now. And then all of a sudden these guys, it was an overall negative experience for this girl. But it was like sometimes these negative experiences are sparked by cis women calling a dude's man card, like, hey, that's a man. And then this dude, she's checking his man card, and he's not very well equipped to have his man card checked in that way. So he's going to like, oh, no, I wasn't doing that, man. I ain't gay. No, I don't. Some people respond to violence, which is absolutely horrible, but some do.
right. So, speaking of women, are you attracted to cis women at all?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A big butt and a smile will catch a lot of men. Trans or not,
I don't know.
I mean, you can't think that somebody's
Memory,
trans.
memory serves me correct. You're not supposed to trust a big butt and a smile.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So yeah, no, a lot of men are just in general attracted to the form of women. So we love big butts, ass, pretty face, hair, all that stuff. But there are a lot of guys who are trans amorous who also still continue to date cis women.
Right.
So I mean, when a guy says he's trans amorous, that doesn't mean he is opted out of cis women completely. There are some that do, and there are some that don't.
Right. And I think that there's a concern with trans women, and I can't speak obviously for all trans women. I can speak for me, and I can comment on things that I've seen said in the community.
Of
And I think
course.
there's a concern with some trans women that men who are exclusively attracted to trans women,
Mhm.
there's something wrong there. There's something, it becomes, it's no longer about you're actually attracted to the person for the person. It becomes more of a fetish.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's a certain amount of fetishization that can be hot. I mean, let's be honest. I
Mhm.
mean, it just is what it is. But if it gets to be like an exclusive kind of a thing, that's scary. And so that's why I asked the question, and that's cool. That's Thank you.
Yeah. So, I would say any level. So when it comes to judgment in this way, I would say whoever out there feels the need to judge men for who and what they like has absolutely no right to do so. And you are in no position to judge, insult, or make someone feel bad about what they like. People can't change who they are and what they're like. And there's nothing wrong
It's
with these men liking what
basically
they like.
right. It's basically kink
So,
shaming. So
I mean, it isn't
it's
even a kink though, because here's the
no,
thing.
no, true, but it's in the same neighborhood of when you're shaming somebody for that kind of a thing. It's in the same neighborhood of kink shaming, and that's wrong. You just shouldn't do that.
Yeah, and in some ways, it's projection.
Yes.
I don't think you're a fetish, but for some reason, you think me liking you is fetishization. Why are you projecting that onto me? You shouldn't think that you're a fetish.
I've
I see
seen
you as a perfectly regular human being that I choose to love and give myself to.
I've seen a number of women post things like "I am not your fetish," and I mean,
Of course.
I've never said anything like that because I personally do think a certain amount of fetishization is actually pretty hot. People like they complain a lot about objectification. We all
Yes.
objectify each other all the time.
Mhm.
Objectification can be pretty hot. Um,
But
if
all of that happens. I'm not invalidating that men. I'm not saying that men don't
right,
fetishize and objectify trans women at all. I'm not saying they don't do that. There are, again, and I would even throw out there, it's a large majority. A large majority of men are engaging trans women in ways that are hurtful to
right,
them and to the community. Large majority. I'm
yes,
only speaking about me and mine. The men that say we are here to this, the men that are owning this is what we like. These are the people that we choose to partner with. This is my attraction. I'm owning my sexuality. I'm accepting myself, and I'm living in my truth. So for those guys, for those guys to be out there in front and to be an example for other men to step up and change and start a journey of self growth that will lead them to ultimately be happier in life, for them to be judged or shamed in any way is absolute bullshit. And, it's yes, there are guys in this space. There are men in this space that prefer women with penises. Let's just be out with the shit. Guys that prefer that. But you know what? So what? Because there's a lot of people out there that prefer a particular set of genitals on their partner. But why does this particular group of guys, why can't we have that preference? Everyone has genital preference. And that doesn't make you a fetishizer, a dangerous person, or anything like that.
this has been actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Um, Thank you very much for being open and honest. Thank you for meeting me in this wonderful Zoom space. Um, and I actually enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed it. Hopefully my viewers enjoy it as well. That would be fantastic. If they don't, screw them. It's still fantastic. Um, Here's the thing: is I have been on YouTube. Well, now I've been off for a couple of years, but I mean I have been on YouTube since 2009. I've had a couple thousand followers. It's not a huge channel. It used to be bigger, but I've lost people over the years, and being gone for a while, people just kind of take off. Um, but I've had a pretty solid group of following. The people that are subscribed now, like I could blow shit up and they'd stick with me. I could do just about anything and they'd stick with me. Even though I haven't been making videos, I've been in contact with a lot of them. They message me and stuff. So I've got a really good, really awesome following. I'm very lucky that way in YouTube land. Um, But you know, I have no problem telling most of them when they can go fuck themselves. You know, and they expect that kind of thing from time to time from me. I mean, that's just me. That's just,
Mhm.
I never said I was nice. You know, but it's fun. They know who I am, so I can say fuck them if they don't like it. It was a good talk, um, and I think that brings us to the end of the interview. So, Chris, tell
Okay.
everybody where they can find you.
Yes. So you can find me at Men Like Us Podcast on Instagram, Men Like Us Podcast on YouTube, Facebook. It's actually at Men Like Us Pod. Couldn't fit podcast part of it. At Men Like Us Pod on Twitter. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the major podcasts and platforms.
Wow.
And you can also find me on Clubhouse if you're on there, at MLU Chris. We also have a Men Like Us club there as well. And men who, if you are attracted to women in the trans community and you are looking for growth or just looking to commune with other men like yourselves, please join my Facebook group. It is a men's only safe space. It's called the Men Like Us Tribe. It is judgment free. We have men of all different experiences, whether you're married, single, whatever. There's somebody that's walked in your shoes before that can help you on your path. So, yeah.
Okay, there you go, Chris. Thank you very much. Thank you, and I'll be seeing you. All right, chaser. A chaser is one who chases. Sounds pretty straightforward, but I guess it really depends on the context. In this context, a chaser is going to be a man who is primarily attracted to trans women or cross dressers. And it's kind of creepy. It's a fetishization of trans bodies. And a lot of trans women get upset when they're being followed on Twitter or they get a message from somebody they deem to be a chaser. I mean, I kind of get it, but at the same time, I don't mind. I have people on Twitter that follow me that are clearly in the category of chasers. Their Twitter accounts are just loaded with trans porn. And I follow some of these accounts because why not? They're people too. I don't make a habit out of hating people because of their kink or because of what they're into. So I don't look down on them. And besides, it's nice having somebody sending you messages every day telling you you're beautiful. I got to admit, I kind of like it. So that is the word of the day, chaser. All right, guys. Like I said, check out the description box, and I don't know when I'll make another video, but I've already got another interview lined up. I've got some topics in mind. Maybe one day I'll do more of my face with you guys. Maybe not. Maybe we'll talk about vocal training. Who knows? We got lots of stuff, lots of good ideas, I think. Anything you want to hear, anything you want to know about, anything you want to talk about, leave it down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.